You mentioned the Premier. She certainly got involved in this drama. She made these comments before he was sentenced.
It's up to Richmond Football Club to explain why they've made this football decision, as parents around the country are going to sit down with their kids and watch the footy this weekend and trying to explain to their kids why this behaviour is wrong and dangerous.
So she was very upset there that Richmond were playing him. Now that saw former Richmond coach and current Gold Coast Suns coach Damien Hardwick hit back at the Premier.
Yeah, once again, he got a suspension through Richmond, through the AFL, had a 4-week penalty. You know, end of the day, got a premier that put her nose in someone else's business. She should just concentrate on getting the state running well. Absolute, mockery of her making comments with regard to that. But at the end of the day, he's pled guilty. He understands that. He's going to cop his fair whack.
Patrick, my God, it's a bit of a drama, this one. What do you make of all that? I guess the point that Damien Hardwick was making there is that the Victorian Premier, the Victorian government, is notorious for being soft on crime. The crime crisis in this state is a significant issue. So why she would choose to weigh in on this seems to be, well, she's opened herself up for this sort of criticism.
Yeah, look, I'm guessing there must have been some bad economic news on the day that she was saying that, because it's a great distraction, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Everyone's been talking about it. Should she, shouldn't she have? Hardwick's jumped in on it. It's produced so many words in newspapers and so much commentary. Look,
you're a Richmond man.
I'm a
actually,
Richmond man.
We should be upfront with that. So everything you're saying is coloured by.
Yes, and Bolt had a cracking game on Saturday night in our great win. That's 2 this year. Look, it's a hard one. And if you compare it to, there's going to be 6, 8, 10 across NRL, AFL cases of players who have been charged with being violent. I mean, this one is probably at the lower end. The footage is dreadful.
The footage is pretty bad. I mean, this is the thing. Some of those offences weren't caught on video, but this was caught on video.
Yes, it makes a difference. It does make a big difference.
It does, and you watch that footage, it's pretty confronting. Before you go, we're talking about crime, the latest from the campaign trail. Peter Dutton has been talking about Australia's deepening crime crisis.
There's obviously real concern, and there certainly it's not just here in Victoria either. And talking to a colleague in WA the other day out door knocking, it was a singular biggest issue that was raised. People just worried about crime in their own neighbourhood, and that is the case in New South Wales and in my state of Queensland and elsewhere. That's the reality. Singular
biggest issue being raised. We hear so much about cost of living. Of course, that's the top issue, but crime is very much an issue. It's seen as a state issue, but what can the federal government do about that? And should Peter Dutton lean into this issue? Because it's one where he has an advantage over Anthony Albanese. Traditionally, Coalition is seen as harder on crime than Labor.
And he used to be a police officer.
Of course.
And look, there was a poll, I think, back in January that showed that climate change as an important issue had dropped off. Safety, public anxiety about safety had gone up 10% or something, like a massive amount. I don't think you're going to lose any votes by doing this, are you? And it does actually, in places like Victoria, it does tap into that sense that the state government has been so weak on crime that we are actually in jeopardy in our own homes. It is something that can be exploited. I don't think it's going to lose any votes. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out and whether Labor will actually sort of respond to it in a meaningful way.
Patrick Carlyon, thanks for your time tonight.